Hello and welcome to another weekly update, your roundup of anything interesting that's happening in the Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business sort of development platform world and any kind of related technologies, and loads of things happening this week, so lots to get through. So first of all, app templates. I know I've been talking about app templates quite a lot recently, but the pace of iteration there is really fast. There's a new app just been released this week. It's called List Search, and it's designed to help you work better with SharePoint lists. So if you've got loads of SharePoint lists and you want to expose that data in Teams, make it really easy for users to search for the content in those lists within Teams, go and have a look at List Search. I think you will be very pleasantly surprised. I've got a blog post I'll link to. There's a walkthrough video there as well. It's zero code, so no code solution, so anyone can do this. Very, very interesting. So definitely think you should go and check that out. And then also there's a blog post I did this week about the Icebreaker bot, which I know I've talked about the last couple of weeks. In the walkthrough video I did, I mentioned that it's possible to adjust the pairing schedule, because when you go through the deployment templates, if you're not Pacific Central Time, Pacific Standard Time, I think it is, it's not kind of super obvious how you're supposed to change the time zone, because there's no drop down. There's a free text, but it's kind of a bit guesswork, right? So however, after you've deployed, you can go and adjust the schedule, including the time zone. So I've got a blog post about exactly how you do that with the Icebreaker bot. Okay, so other things. So the because it's kind of on the monthly cadence, the Teams team have released a kind of roundup of everything that's new, and that got released in June. So that's kind of a good blog post to go through to make sure you are not missing any of the things that are rolled out this month. There's quite a lot. There's new installers for Pro Plus and Office 365 Business Premium people, information barriers, and that's very important for organizations, announcements in channels, so a different way of posting messages to channels, like an announcement style. So there's a nice banner, big background, large text. Yeah, just kind of a good way of sort of announcing information into a team, rather than just starting a conversation. You know, it's equivalent to standing on a soapbox and shouting at something at a group of people. Speaking of groups of people, you can now have up to 100 people in group chats. That's interesting. There's some changes to how discovery of private teams works as well that you might want to dig into if you use a lot of private teams. If you're government and you have government GCC, there's interop now between Skype for Business and Teams for you guys. There's been a lot of work gone on in how Teams auto-updates and the bandwidth usage when it does auto-update, so real improvements there to make sure Teams is using the smallest amount of bandwidth when doing those updates, which is great to see. If you're a developer or you do anything with GitHub, there's some new updates to the GitHub in Teams experience. So there's now a messaging extension bot, so you can kind of look stuff up. And there's a personal app as well, so it's even easier to kind of use GitHub inside Teams. That's all very exciting. And the same thing actually happening for Azure pipelines. So good integrations of Azure pipelines in Teams as well. And there's also a new meeting options section, a bit like there is in Skype for Business. You've got meeting options when you schedule a meeting. You can now do that with a scheduled meeting inside Microsoft Teams. There's a meeting options link. You can now do things like control the lobby settings. So that's good to see. That's come. A couple of other things as well. I won't go through the whole list. Chrome support, which is really interesting. So you can now share your own video and receive video of Teams meetings in the Chrome browser. So that's a big deal for developers, actually. It's kind of good to see this coming. So, you know, we've long wanted this kind of real plug-in-less support for video on the Microsoft platform. It looks like this is now coming, because in the Chrome browser, if you're joining a Teams meeting, you can now do that plug-in-less. By the look of it, it looks like it's fully supported with, you know, in the browser. Why is that interesting? Well, you've got Chrome, but you also got Chromium, so that there's similar support there, which means it will be a similar experience in Edge as well. By the way, if you haven't used Edge, I strongly urge you to go and try it out. It's amazing. I don't use Chrome anymore. Within one day, that's what it took for me to flip entirely from being, you know, a 99% Chrome user to being a 99% Edge user. The Edge Dev Insider build, or whatever it's called, preview build, it's really, really good. There's also exciting things for teams for education. So there's a lot of stuff happened, in the past month. This pace of change and of new features and of plugging gaps and of meeting customer needs is kind of it's still happening. It's still relentless, and that's really, really good to see because it makes the whole platform better. Okay. Let's step sideways slightly to a blog post from the bot framework team. So this is all about using adaptive cards in the bot framework. And I don't think there's anything new in here, but it's a really nice kind of rounded out introduction. It's good to see these blog posts. It's not an announcement post. It's not super technical. It's more of it's an intro. It's a higher level overview of why you'd use adaptive cards in bot framework, the benefits they provide, and then how you do that with some code samples, the different ways you can do it, the different packages that are available to you, and some tips and tricks. So it's a good kind of it's a good context post. So even if you're not new to using adaptive cards in the bot framework, I think it's worth reading anyway. You'll probably get some stuff out of it. If you are new to doing it and you're not really sure where to start, you should definitely go here as well. This is a really kind of good one. So good blog post here, so that's good. And I think that's pretty much everything this week. Other than just to say briefly, something else I'll put in the description is another blog post. So pleased and proud to say that I've been renewed as a Microsoft MVP for another year. It's really nice to kind of get that recognition. So thanks very much to all of you guys for your support here. Thanks for watching these. Thanks for reading the blog posts. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for your engagement on Twitter. I couldn't have done any of this without you. So yeah, massive thank you to you guys as well. So I think that's everything for me this week. Yeah, so have a great weekend, whatever's left of it by the time you watch this. And I will speak to you again next time.